Hey people, I want you to read through this and then move on. So you can pause, read through, and then video, and you can see on the next page as well, there's more info. And then I'm going to do these examples with you just quickly as a guidance, how to apply, for example, what you just read. So number one, and you've done word problems before, but let's see. One number is 11 more than another. Find the numbers if their sum is 145. So we first have to put it into perspective for ourselves, is my prerogative always. So the first number, the one where they say one number, so the first number I will name x, okay, and then the next number, or the other number, not next, the other number is, and that's the information they give us, 11 more. So it's the first number plus 11 more. That's its worth. Now they say find the numbers if their sum is 145. So the sum of means we add them. So therefore the information they gave us is that x, the first number, plus x plus 11, the other number, is 145 altogether. And then we simplify on the left hand side. 2x plus 11 is 145, and then we subtract, let's just see, colors, minus 11 from both sides to isolate x. 2x equals 134 then, and then next inverse operation to totally isolate x is to divide by 2, and therefore the final answer of x is 67. Okay, let me just move this back up again. And then, therefore, go back to your question, read it. Find the numbers if their sum is 145. They don't just want the value of one number, they want the value of both. So our final conclusion then is the one number, or the first number, that's what we called it. So the first number is 67, and the other number will then be 78. And you can double check by adding them together and seeing whether that gives you 145. On to the next example. The sum of three consecutive integers is negative 84. Find the numbers. Now there's something I can teach you about consecutive integers and how to express them algebraically. And it's always going to be, for example, I'm going to write it below here, below the blue writing, just to give you a bit of background. So think about the first integer. Well, we can't. Okay, let's think about natural numbers, because integers and natural numbers can be expressed the same way. So the first natural number being 1, I'm going to call x. But then the next natural number, remember consecutive means they follow after one another. So the next one should be x and one more. 1 plus 1 gives you 2. And the one after that should then be 2 more than x, right? Because it's 1 more than the previous one. So it's x plus 1 plus 1, and that simplifies to be x plus 2. So we can express it as such. So this is an example of consecutive natural numbers. Now, consecutive integers can be expressed in the same way. We just have to be careful in the end of how we write the answers. You have to carefully look at what you first put it into perspective as. So my perspective part now. The first integer, which will then be my smallest integer, would be x then. The next integer they're talking about, not is expressed as 1 more. So it's x plus 1, whatever x was plus 1. And then the last integer, because they're talking about 3 integers, is 1 more than the previous one, so it's x plus 2. And thus we can express them as the sum of all of these expressions being equal to negative 84. So x and x plus 1 and x plus 2 is negative 84. So it's, if we simplify, 3x plus 3 on the left hand side equal to negative 84. And then we just have to solve for x. Inverse operation, so minus 3 each side. What we do on the one side we have to do to the other. Becomes 3x is equal to negative 87. And then we go and divide by 3 on each side to isolate x. Therefore, x is equal to negative 29. Now, remember, they asked you to find all the numbers' values. And so, we know that the numbers, which are integers, as mentioned, are negative 29. Now remember, the next number is 1 more, x plus 1. So negative 28 follows to the right on the number line, and negative 27. And then, guys, you can do a check by adding them all together and seeing whether it gives you negative 84. Great. Now for question 3. A father is currently 3 times as old as his son. Ages ago, their combined age was 64 years. How old is the father at present? Now, you're never going to get the table that I put here given to you. But if there's an age question, I want you to put it into perspective, especially when they talk about and 8 years ago or 6 years ago or whatever. Put it into perspective in a table. So current ages for both, and then 8 years ago. So I'm going to list it here, and their current ages. The father is 3 times as old as his son, so the least information is about the son's age, which is then x, and then the father's age is 3 times as much. 8 years ago, of course, it would be 8 years less. So x minus 8 and 3x less 8 would have been each of their ages. Okay. Now, the information given, the combined age was 64. They give you something to make an equation about, but only about the ages 8 years ago. So that's the information we're going to use from here in the table to put up or put together the equation. So therefore, if they say the sum of their ages or the combined ages, x minus 8, the son's age, you can put it in brackets if you prefer, plus 3x minus 8, the father's age, is equal to, what did they say, 64. So I can say, simplifying the left-hand side, 3x plus x is 4x, and negative 8 and negative 8 is negative 16. And then I start isolating x by inverse operation, so plus 16 on each side. And that gives you 4x is equal to 72. And then the next inverse operation, of course, is to divide by 4. And so, 1x is equal to, I said I didn't leave enough space here for myself. So that's equal to, 18. Okay, so 18, that is, if we go back here, that is the son's age. Okay, but what did the question say? It says, what is the father's age at present over here? Okay, so therefore our final conclusion, I'm just going to write it here if you don't mind, is that the father's age, or the father is, what was he? 3 times as old as his son. So if his son is 18, then he's got to be 54. years old. So how did I get this? That comes from saying 3 times 18, substituting into x. Oh, x into 3x. Great. So now on to question 4. A turkey costs 5 times as much as a chicken. A farmer bought 20 turkeys, 50 chickens, and it cost him 1,200 rand. Determine the price of a turkey. So therefore, we can say the least amount of information given was about a chicken. So the chicken can be expressed, if we want to put it into perspective, as x. And the turkey, the cost of each actually, would be 5 times as much. So it would be 5 times x, which we say is 5x. Okay, so this is the cost of each. Okay, and then he bought 20 turkeys and 50 chickens. So 20 turkeys is 20 times the price of 5x that he paid, because the information given was about the amount of money he paid for it. So 20 times the price of a turkey plus 50 times the price of a chicken, which is just plain old x. So we just say 50 times x. And that cost him 1,200 rand. So then that's 100x if we say 20 times 5x plus 50x is 1,200, and that's 150x. And so if I divide, that's my only inverse operation in this calculation, by 150, so that gives us x is 8. Let's go back and see, what does x represent? X represents the cost of a chicken. So the question said that we must determine the price of a turkey. So we have to go back and say 5 times x, which is 5 times 8 in this case. And therefore, our conclusion is the price of a turkey is 40 rand, because 5 times 8 is 40 rand. Okay. Question 5, or example 5. An amount of 351 rand consists of 114 coins, which are either 2 rand and 5 rand coins. How many 2 rand coins are there? So this is a more difficult, higher order thinking question. But the way I interpret this, once again, is with a table. And the headings I put here, so is the kind of coin, the amount, in other words, the amount of coins I have for the specific coin, okay, and then the total, in other words, the total amount that it would accumulate or result in. So 2 rand coins, X, okay, they don't give us too much information about either coin, so you just make one of them X, and then the other one, the amount of coins for the other one would be, we know the total amount of coins is 114 coins. So the 5 rand coins has got to be 114 coins less the amount of 2 rand coins, which we have named X. Okay. Now let's get to the total amount that it's worth. So each 2 rand coin is worth 2 rand. So it would be a total of 2 rand times X. Okay. And then here, this would be a total of 5, because it's worth 5 rand each, times how many coins there are, 114 minus X. Okay, now that's what we're going to put together as an equation. Therefore, 2x plus 5 times 114 minus X is 351 rand altogether. Remember, we've got to take the amount that it's worth together with the price, okay, or the cost that they gave us. So that gives you 2x plus 570 minus 5x is equal to 351 Rand. And so if we simplify this side, it's negative 3x plus 570. Okay, now inverse operations. And that would be minus 570 each side, which gives me a result of negative 3x equal to negative 219. And so last inverse step would be to divide by negative 3, and that we do to both sides. And so we get x is equal to 73. So let's go back and see what this represents. It's the amount of 2 Rand coins, and that is exactly what they are. So our conclusion is there are 73 2 Rand coins. Right, so have a look at the homework and shout if you need any help.